kind of ran into each other when we started each other's channels.
Everybody made me feel so welcome and so appreciated. I immediately became a fan of your channel.
And I wouldn't be able to do it without everybody else that's part of the show. And it definitely takes a team to do a live show.
So many fumbaloos in this. It's mind-boggling. I'm like, well, you pretty much just opened the door and said,
hey, guess what? I said that last night and so-and-so's live. Okay, cool. It's about this, Silky. That's why you get the cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Sometimes it's your early morning shows, CJ, that you just get all worked up.
Right?
You've had too much Red Bull this morning.
I've had too much bullshit this morning. That's
Boston, this
What
is
is Zimbify?
Well, hold on.
Zimbify is an immune globulin, or IG.
Zublify. Side effects, diarrhea.
Oh, I like
migraines or diarrhea? Which one? You know?
You know, if you're talking about, explosive diarrhea is a side effect, I'm not in.
Explosive.
Yeah.
That sounds drastic. Sound like a bottle rocket went off or something, you know? Get the whistle with it.
Yeah, give me some of that, please. Can I have a free sample?
Right.
But what if it doesn't cure the migraine and all you get is the side effect? So now you have a headache and explosive diarrhea. So, there's always that possibility.
It would trigger me, because can you imagine how much toilet paper you'd have to use for that? And then, the burns.
Do you think, truly, if you are... Okay. If you are a victim of explosive diarrhea...
You need a disclaimer at the bottom, Silky.
Please know that there is help for you, okay? Just so you know, CJ and I really, that's heartfelt.
Yes. 1-800-FARTS-OFF if you just want to call us.
Hello. Let me get CJ up here. I'll have to adjust you, CJ, because, look, good morning to everybody. Let me turn where I can see the comments. Thank you for being here. This morning, my computer decided to throw up, CJ. So, yeah, I'm every hair. When you see it, I've been doing this.
It's all good.
Because, and I had to play that from YouTube, and they're not gonna strike me. They're gonna demonetize this for that, but I'll have to mute it.
Really?
I made a whole nother video. Go ahead.
I didn't get in trouble.
I don't know. I did.
That's weird. After you said that, I went to my video because I'm used to having to clip out News Nation, and I went to my video to check, and usually within like 10 minutes it'll pop up and give you whatever. There was nothing. I had something for maybe it's because I bet it was because I was playing my music in the background while it was playing.
Yeah, that probably is. Yeah, well, I had made that video. I'd used that music before with no problem, and all of a sudden it's got a copyright on it. So I had to redo the music, and I've been doing that all morning, finding music and clipping it where you want. Anyway, I had it all done, the exact same length, exact same video, and for some reason it would not upload to my files here on EVMux, and they're like, no, the size, talking about the size. I'm like, it's the same dang size as it was.
Well, it's crazy because, like, if you can see it, you got that's what the green screen looks like without the background. So I was like, well, that's weird. It won't even let me use a green screen. I don't know. There's a lot of social stuff having issues right now.
I was gonna say, I think you've
Facebook,
used it before.
Instagram. No,
No?
I think you went back to StreamYard because the other ones th- this is my new setup. This is brand new as of gosh, it's only been a few weeks since I moved everything. Totally redid my whole studio.
Yeah,
So
I like your green screen.
I mean, it's huge, but the way that I have it set up, like it goes way back that way. But in order to do the side cam, uh, I have to have like the whole corner, and that green screen right here was crazy expensive. It's like 10 feet wide, I think, by 10 feet. I mean, it's huge. And so I just got like a black sheet for the other side, like I used to use before. But
Okay.
this works a lot better, you know, for the. But yeah, I was surprised. For some reason, it won't allow me to use one.
I don't know. It might be on my end, something about settings. I don't know. I don't know. Uh yeah, it was a whole nightmare. Now I can't get up to the beginning comments. I wanted to say good morning to everybody. When I tell you my computer has lost its mind, I'm not even kidding. I saw Kip Kitty in here. Hello?
Yeah, I'm trying
Hello,
to.
Kip Kitty.
Maybe this is
Laura.
like the first time in a long time I've joined when you use this or something, because I don't remember the comments being on the left.
Uh, I don't know. Hey, Laura. Hello, Caddy. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I can't even move down the comments now. Come on. Hey, Just Dab. Detective Golden. Hello. Yeah, I know. Some people were probably waiting and just said, you know what? Because here's the thing, CJ. I am. Can y'all hear him okay? He's low to me, but
Emma?
yeah. It could be my
Oh,
ears or
hold
my.
on. That's why I think it's using. Yeah, hold on.
That should be a lot better,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. That's better. Um. All right. So anyway, the video, the video. It will be next time you come on, CJ. I will have this together. Hello, SM.
Are you-
Uh, but yeah, I've. Oh, you changed angles. Look at you. Look at you. Fragaria, hello.
Trying to see what works better. Get rid of my freaking stuff out of the
Yeah, this is a morning of. I mean, like it was. I woke up and I didn't sleep much, and I woke up and my eyes, my whole face was just like puffy, and so I did the old trick, the old beauty pageant trick of putting the you're gonna die, CJ. You put the hemorrhoid treatment on
Whoa!
your eyes.
I wasn't silky. It's too early. Oh my gosh! I haven't even ate breakfast. That's probably a good thing because
Just
so, I,
a disclaimer: I do not I do not have hemorrhoid problems, but it's great for your eyes.
what
Yeah,
for your eyes
yeah, that's
because
where
of
I
the
put it. Yeah, you put because y'all get a lesson.
Where'd
Uh,
you hear this from?
this is it's a beauty treatment, like you know emergency. I've got puffy eyes. You can't lay there with cucumbers on your eyes or tea bags. If you've got to
Yeah,
do
but
something quick.
did you Google it or something? I mean, where did you come up with that?
I've known this for so long, CJ, I can't remember, but I know that they do this a lot in beauty pageants. if you get up there and all of a sudden your eyes are puffy,
Oh,
you put
maybe.
hemorrhoid cream on there, and about 20 minutes or so, and it shrinks the tissues. So, so
What the fuck? I ain't never heard of that in my life. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was just watching different TV shows or something. I don't know. I don't.
well,
I don't ever. I've never. I don't know. Is that normal? Have you guys heard of it? It's the cheap
see,
way instead of surgery. What?
yeah, see, women, we know these tricks. Like, we have to. It's a tough market out there, CJ. we, we have to know all the tricks.
Some ass pucker for your eye. I mean, that's crazy shit. What the hell? I've never heard of that. Okay. I mean, I wake up with puffy eyes too sometimes because, there's a bunch of sleep in them or something.
Yeah.
I don't have hemorrhoid cream in the cabinet. So,
Regardless, how did
is
we
there,
end up here? You're
what else?
watching CJ and Silky. That's how.
What else can you use? Like toothpaste or what? Like what's up? What else can you
No,
use?
I mean, because here's the thing: it's only for shrinking tissues. Because hemorrhoids apparently. I don't know. Can I say that on YouTube? But
Oh my gosh, you should stop. Cause now all these people are gonna like think that they need other things shrunk and they're gonna put hemorrhoid cream on it. Seriously, next thing and somebody's gonna be like, "Yeah, guys, did you hear the new trick? If you got a large and you need a small, just put a bunch of hemorrhoid cream on it and throw it in the dryer." All right, you just started something you don't even know. E- Edit that out. People think everything's real. No, don't do that with a t-shirt either. It'll ruin your dryer. Not good.
well, yeah, you don't want greasy stuff all over you. Anyway,
No.
I mean, if it would work, I would put it, like if it would just really just shrink stuff, I would put it in a lot of different places. Okay, but I use it
Like
for
tanning
yeah, it'd be like a
like
greased
tanning
pig going
like
around.
tanning lotion. It'd be all thick and shit. It'd be like
Yeah,
tanning lotion. Oh
exactly.
no.
Yeah, yeah. That's what, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd be here in the South. We have, I don't know, maybe you have them where you're at too, but uh,
No. No
we
Amazon.
have greased pig contests sometimes. You got it. Have you ever tried to catch a greased pig?
No.
It's not done as much anymore, but certainly when I was a kid, I tried one time. You cannot catch a greased pig.
Oh.
Like, they are so fast and they're so slippery. Like, whoever they what happens? See,
Catch a grease.
you're
Catch,
getting an education.
I couldn't even catch a greased up basketball. What do you mean? How are you supposed Are you supposed to catch up or catch anything greasy?
Well, that's the whole point. What they do,
In a pig?
look, back before the internet, CJ,
Yeah, I bet.
people were people were creative, okay? And so, you'd go to the fair or whatever, go to events, and they would have a greased pig contest. And you take a pig, usually a small pig, because they're faster, and you grease them up. And usually, there's some kind of prize, usually monetary, for the person who catches the greased pig. And they just turn this pig loose, and everybody,
Mm.
it's not like everybody is trying to catch this pig. And so have kids and grown men and women. Have I said too much? Who go up there and try to catch the pig. Well, yeah, mostly you just get all greasy because you can grab the pig, but you can't hold it. But whoever does catch the pig and manage to get, up under his legs and catch the pig he gets the monetary prize, or she. So,
Oh.
uh, yeah. So I
So
mean,
you just like you just wait. Really, if you want to be strategic, you just sit back, let everybody else rub the grease off the pig, let the pig get tired, and then at the end you sneak in and give it a nice chokehold or something, and all the
there you
grease
go.
is on everybody else. Yeah,
So now you have a strategy, CJ. You
yeah.
know, it used to be back in the rural South. I mean, it was almost like, you know, it was a feat of strength, and not just strength, but agility and all this kind of stuff. You know, the lucky man, you know, would win, would catch the greased pig, and he'd be the hero for the day, and the ladies would be, you know, like, oh, you know, whatever. Right?
Really?
Yes.
Like they were that like they just got done doing a rodeo or something like that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, she's so hot. Really? For wrestling a
Exactly.
pig?
Exactly. You had to
Grab
be
my
smart enough.
flannel, babe. Yeah, right. Grab my flannel. Okay.
Exactly. So,
What an accomplishment.
oh my God.
Grab my
So, yeah, man, I should have worn something lighter because I'm laughing so much I'm sweating.
flannel.
But anyway, yeah. So
Yes.
that's why when you said rub yourself with the, you know, with the preparation H, you know, type thing, then I'm like, yeah, I'd be going around here like a greased pig. But yeah, it doesn't work for that, ladies. Only for eye bags, circles, and then yeah, because I was puffy this morning, and there was just no, like, you know, I just threw myself together. So it is what it is, you know. Yeah,
I'm wondering if my eyes are too puffy still. You got me wondering.
get you
It's
some
okay though.
hemorrhoid cream.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. We're good.
Okay, so
I got coffee and time. That's what I got.
oh, good.
Yeah, I don't need to
Oh,
get hemorrhage.
hey there, Steve. I hadn't seen you in a while. The video you shared that I shared is now over 16K. Good, good. That was
Wow.
an amazing. He did an amazing
Wow.
Delphi video
Oh.
of the Monon High Bridge, and the, like, the height of bridge guy and all this kind of stuff. Very, you know, he
Oh yeah.
really took his time, and then he went walked out there and all this stuff. Yeah, so it was good, and I asked him, like, what, about a year ago, can I share this? So good.
Do me a
Love you
favor,
too,
send it
Steve.
to me. Do me a favor, send it to me in Discord and I'll check it out sometime.
Yeah.
I was gonna try and go up there. I was trying to go up there last week and the weather wasn't because I'm trying to get new footage with my drone and I was gonna go up there last week and the weather is too windy and I was gonna try and go tomorrow, um, but it looks like it's still gonna be too windy again, so I might have to wait. But I was gonna make a trip up there too.
If I ever go to Delphi, not saying I will never, but if I ever do, it's going to be a very hush hush undercover adventure for me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I am definitely not going to show my
Well, we're
face, my real one.
yeah. Well, I'm good here. I got my protection. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
always at a moment's readability
Yeah.
if we need it. Just saying.
uh, I just, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what would happen? But, so yeah, we're talking today. We're talking about not just hemorrhoids and grease pigs, but
I'm just thinking like that Geico commercial with the pinwheel. Wee,
yeah,
you
I
know,
love that one.
we all the way home.
Yes, I love that commercial. It's very annoying, but I love that commercial.
Wee.
Yeah. Whee. So I don't know. I hope everything that I want to share, and I'm gonna have to adjust everything too, because as you see, everything that I did for prep. Let me try to make us. There we go. Everything I did for prep just went to hell in a handbasket this morning for me. So That's why I was late. Sorry, y'all. I'm one thing I try to do, and I'm very picky about my streams, is I want to start on time. Like, boom, right at the time.
Yeah.
So it's very rare if I get, and then it throws me off. So, thus you have the crazy conversations. And two, it's just, this is going to be great for a second video, this conversation, CJ. We're gonna have to start. Hey, remember next time you're doing another Silky CJ video, remember the hemorrhoids.
Oh man, it don't stop. I yeah, I never heard of it. It's crazy. I don't know. Never
Yeah,
even
follow me
thought.
for beauty tricks. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh no, but that's a pretty well known thing, really.
Is it really?
It really is. If you've ever done, I wasn't a I've been in a couple, but I wasn't a beauty pageant person. But I was in, like acting and stuff like that, some commercial work and stuff. So I, you have to learn these things, it's important. And then, still sometimes like today, you get frustrated and nothing works, including your eye cream.
You running commercials?
Yeah, for a certain place, and then for a certain institution, let's just call that. But yeah, I've done a lot of different. I've done so much. Uh,
Oh wow.
that I've lived like 20 lives, and my
Yeah.
daughter always freaks out because I'll make an offhand comment and they're like, yeah, back when I was doing, and she's like, what, you did that? I'm like, yeah,
Huh.
I've never heard this before. I'm your best friend. I'm like, sorry, I've lived so many lives.
Huh.
And so yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I've done a lot of stuff, including being a radio DJ with this voice. Can you imagine?
Really? I
Yeah.
wish I could. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to do like radio,
um it's
especially with music. I mean, I would love to play like music and talk on the radio, playing music. Like music you can't get in trouble. That's why I love going to the lounge sometimes cuz we can just listen to whatever music and it makes me feel like a DJ for a minute.
I mean, it's fun, I guess, but you have, like any other job, it's, you have a certain,
Yeah.
which now everything is digitalized, and you really just put the playlist in and stuff. It's not like it used to be. But
Yeah.
you still have a schedule. You have to do these announcements at this time, and this and this and this, and you know it's not as much fun, I don't think, as actually doing it on YouTube. Like in your lounge, you probably have a whole lot more fun.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, like with what we do too, like, because it's always fun until you do it for a real job,
Yeah,
right? You always hear that,
it's
but I
true.
think, but I think it's different with this because I really do enjoy this for my real job because all the work, I, and that would be the difference, like doing this for a real job at a station or something, you don't have all of that creative control. And I think that's the beautiful part about what we do is we are able to keep that creative control doing what we do. And so although it's tough and it's always a risk uh at any moment because anything can change and it is a platform that you're kind of, if the board breaks, you're going down. So it's one of those things that you have to put a lot of trust into, but the work and the community and being able to bring people together
Hmm.
and just have that belonging and it's all over the world. I think that's the beautiful part about it, and that's why it'll never, even though it is a lot of work, it's way more work even after I went 24/7, way more work than I ever thought it would be. Uh, it's so worth it because making changes and differences and also bringing people together. It's the best of both worlds.
Right. And you have creative control, which is what I like. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
what somebody, throws on my desk and says, hey, cover this story. It's like, I get to do
Mm-hmm.
that. And I love that part. But you do have a lot of, requests from people who watch. And so I've covered some things that I probably wouldn't have covered. Um, if circumstances were different, if it was just me, some things I haven't heard about, but yeah, I love that. Yes, he does have the voice for it, doesn't he? Absolutely. I was telling my son, you and him both could start bedtime story channels. Like, I know this is crazy, but I listen to now, a lot of people listen to bedtime stories, and it's like just somebody reading from a classic book or,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I I listen to true horror stories to go to
Yeah.
sleep. Yeah.
That see, I would love because I was in acting, you know, and in high school, and I would love. That's where I get like whenever you guys hear voices and stuff, I actually have like a whole character in my head of what I'd be doing. If you know, but I just kind of keep it to a voice. But I always thought I don't know. Everybody always for the longest time has said I should do stuff like that, and it's crazy because those videos that people do, man, you're talking like hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
views on those things, but I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like how you even like. Isn't there like a lot of copyright involved with that? Because you're reading other stories and stuff, or are you supposed to make up your own?
I think some things, like my son was asking me, and I said, well, I listened to Pride and Prejudice one night, you know, and of
It
course
sounds
that's such an
familiar.
yeah, such an old book. And he said, I said, a classic, something that, or you can read stories from Reddit or whatever is you know, public media, that's posted on there. A lot of people do that, which is interesting because you have a lot of fan fiction and stories on Reddit also. But he said, yeah, he said, I'm going to read just one. He said, my channel, I'm going to just read one book. I'm going to read Pride and Prejudice, and I'm going to do it in a different accent each time, or, Pride and
Hmm.
Prejudice while eating a muffin or something. He's such a goofball, all this different stuff. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a lot of people can't, I can't because I'm ADD. It's hard for me to turn off my brain,
Right. Same here.
and so I lay down, and it's like I like silence, but
Yeah.
I keep myself awake, and then if I
Yeah.
can find a really strong thunderstorm, I can sleep it through that because it
Yeah.
kind of mutes my brain.
Yeah.
But
Same
that
here.
uh but the stories, even the thunderstorm now has kind of made me, my brain's still thinking. So now I'm listening to ghost stories or horror stories or cryptid stories or, whatever. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, this is so relaxing.
Hmm. I do too. Yeah, because even when I lay down, like last night, I was laying down for like probably 2 hours just laying there. I couldn't get to sleep because I just got always have work on the mind. I can't, uh, I don't know. There's always something I feel like I could work on, whether it's thinking about something, you know. Uh, that
it,
is, I use heavy ass thunderstorms and rain as well
mm,
to try and, uh, change
yeah,
the mind. But yeah, it's tough.
yeah, it is. And so, I mean, it's weird when you can't, because I don't always think of practical things. A lot of times I do. But most of the time, CJ, mine is not about work. I lay down and, I think about things like, you know, how are there a certain number of stripes on a zebra?
For
Or,
real?
or is there a certain pattern? How many patterns do zebras come in? And how did that start? I wonder what the mutation was that started. I'm like,
Damn,
that's me.
I wish I could give you an SD card and you could help me go through my shit at night. Cuz
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm thinking timestamps and what new screen I want to work on for the background, just different shit like that, or like how I'm gonna outline the show for the evening, what videos I'm
Yeah.
gonna play first. I break the show outline down before I do the show, so I know stay on task on different topics and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Not
need to
me.
give you an SD card, sister. Just 256 gigabyte, not much.
I, yeah, my brain is, that's when I
It
think
is.
about the wildest things, It's like, and I'm like, why did I stay up thinking about that? Why? But anyway, uh yeah, that's me. But I know people came here to listen to the story of Buford Pusser. And I okay, let me just tell y'all, let's go back, okay? Cuz this starts, I mean, the crimes were like in the 60s and 70s. Or I think he died in 70. I don't know. I have my notebook in front of me because guess what? I was, throwing things at my computer.
You cover other cases. You cover other cases.
um, but yeah. No, this is just me. I've got stuff written, but I don't know what it is or where it is. It's across the room. Anyway, going back to hello, Sandra. Uh, I going back to this time period, okay? Because there were so many weird things that, I mean, I grew up in the South. Now, I wasn't born in the South, which I don't usually admit, and we'll probably get to that in a little bit, but in the South, back in the, 40s, 50s, stuff like that, most people were not that well educated, okay? Still, we're talking about rural, and this took place in McNairy County, Tennessee. Um, and they're rural country folks, and we still have some of that. But of course, there was no technology, and these people were just living. They were growing their gardens. They might work at the hardware store, at the sawmill. What I'm saying? It was that kind of life. And so Buford Pusser, what is it?
Nothing.
His
I don't.
name?
No, we need to. Yeah, yeah, of course.
You
But
know.
we need to get on with the topic. It's all good. I don't want to. We're good.
Yeah,
We're good.
yeah.
Buford Pusser. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to, I just wanted to remind people of what the culture was like, and kind
Buford
of, it
Pusser.
was a very the South is still a little bit misogynistic, but back at the time, okay, women r- really didn't work outside the home, and so they were very dependent and submissive, unlike today. But uh so Buford is born here in the South. Actually, well, I can't remember where he was born. In the South. He ended up in Adamsville. That's where the story starts. But the thing about Buford, let me change. Okay, let me add you to here. Wait, this is not the one I want to add to though. Let me just do the other one. See all these things that you do, and Sorry.
You good?
All these things that you do to prep so this doesn't happen. And then, oh my gosh, it's completely gone. I'm gonna get some pictures up here. I have to go to,
Isn't it? It sucks when technology. It's like all you got to do is just do this. Like what's the?
yeah, until your computer throws up.
Yeah.
And then that's a lot of fun. Um, I think I'm just gonna pull up Canva. Do you use Canva?
Yeah. Yeah. I use Canva for pretty much everything.
Yeah, I've used Canva for most of the time. So
I'm
let me
still
share
learning it,
this.
but I think it's a
I
great
love
program.
Canva.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, let me see. Let me probably. Uh,
Deb.
what did I missed it?
uh, they're talking cat food and the side effects. Bottle
Oh, I've
rockets.
never.
Whistle.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. I've got a cat food story, and I'm not gonna tell it today.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you,
Blue
it's
buffalo.
worse than the greased pigs.
Oh no. Oh
uh,
no.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, anyway, I'm trying to get a picture of Buford up here now.
Buford. Buford Pusser.
Yeah, and the reason that I am covering this is because oh my god, I just popped into this chat. Dear
Yeah, just
Jesus.
blue buff. Hey, everybody out there, don't get blue buffalo cat food. All right, don't get blue
Oh my
buffalo.
god. Uh the reason that Buford is back in the news, okay,
Pusser.
is because of brand yeah. And I keep hearing these people clearly not from the South, okay? Or don't know of this man is a legend, okay? So
Oh,
clearly don't know him. Yeah. And they keep calling him for God's sake, CJ, they actually say Buford Pusser. That is what
Pusser.
they call him. Yeah. I'm like, now he probably had that nickname at some point because uh people are gonna be people. But but
Yeah,
I mean, but it's Pusser. It's Pusser.
yeah.
And,
That's
and there's a lot of, I mean, I'm trying to crop this uh
well. It's like like when you come across a name, you don't say you don't say Harold Moron.
yeah.
You say Harold Moran before,
Yeah.
and then if you're
Yeah.
correct, oh, if it's Moran, oh, okay, Moron, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Harold
Yeah,
Moron.
right.
But until it's Moran, yeah, it's just out of respect. So why would they mispronounce it
I
like
know.
that?
And it's that's so controversial too. Like, come on. Um
Right,
I'm gonna
especially
I'm gonna
back then, because that's like the 50s, right?
yeah.
60s, 50s.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna let them see more of your pretty face. There we go. All right. The thing that's important about this is that the reason I talked to you about the South is because back in those days you had a lot of illegal moonshining. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean you had a lot of crime because what do poor people do? They
yeah.
really they don't have. There's not a whole lot of stuff that's you don't have a whole lot of opportunities, I guess, so to speak. And so, you're making, and I found out that minimum wage back at this time was like something like 70 cents an hour. Like, wow. So most people worked for, minimum
Hmm.
wage. And if they worked, if they didn't just, do their stuff on the farm. So the problem is that, where is, hold on, I just realized I don't have, well, everything's not set up. So
Oh, you're fine.
there we go. Now
Whoa,
we
hey.
have names. All this time we didn't have names. Okay. Uh, and so you had a Buford Pusser was a hero, and not just a hero. He was a legend. Okay, he is like, if you're from the South and you're any kind of age at all, over 20, you've probably heard of Buford Pusser.
Hmm.
Now, and the reason is because he was the sheriff of McNairy County, and he busted up like so many stills, shut down. There were two main gangs, I guess you could say. At the time, there was the Dixie Mafia, and then there was the State Line gang. And this is between the state line of Tennessee and Mississippi. And so we're talking about that Corinth area of the state, which I've been through a million times going to around the Memphis area. So, because it's kind of in that, the southwest corner of Tennessee. So, McNairy County is over there, and, they had a real problem with, I wouldn't say it was the physical moving when they say trafficking. It, it's not like we mean it today, but it's more like ladies who had a certain profession, okay? And so there was a lot of that going on. And, being here in the Bible Belt, people were really, really
Mm,
upset about this whole situation. The
right.
drinking, the card playing, the gambling, the, women. So Buford, he was a big guy. He was 6'6". That is huge. He was like a monster. Um, and so early in his career, he left the area. He goes up to Chicago, and he becomes a wrestler, trying different jobs. Now, back at this time, and I know this from my parents and my grandparents, that if you were from a small rural place, Chicago was like booming in the,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, from the late 40s to 60s. I don't know when the boom stopped, but
Yeah.
it was like all these people from different states were going into Chicago because they had such a good job market. So
Mm-hmm.
Buford was one of these people. And being a tall guy and all this kind of stuff, he was kind of a bouncer at a bar. And then he got into wrestling because this bar that he was working at, the Buccaneer, was even though it was like, it was a regular bar, they had wrestling nights, bring some more flavor in. So Buford, being a bouncer, decided, I could be a wrestler. Of course he could. He's huge. So Buford moves up there. He becomes a wrestler, and then he meets Pauline Mullins. Let's see. I think I've got a picture of Pauline. Yeah. So this is Pauline Mullins, and yeah, you're gonna see he's had some stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What happened to the side of his face? He
Oh,
looks
we're
like Two
getting there.
Face on Batman.
I know. Well, we're getting there.
Whoa.
So shortly after he moved, there's so much to this story, and I'm not going to get into all the gangs, but just I wanted to mention the State Line and the Dixie Mafia because it was such a big deal. But now Buford and Pauline, they meet in Chicago. She's from Virginia. She already had three kids. Uh, two of which lived with her. She had been married before. She had come up earlier. She, of course, she was a very attractive woman. She married a wrestler who mistreated her, like very physically abusive, and they had three kids together. Finally got divorced, and then she married Buford in 1957. So, right after they got married, they decided to come back to Tennessee to McNairy County where there was family. It so happened that, Buford had, I think it was his dad who was in law enforcement. Um, but Buford, his dad had some kind of physical ailment. I can't remember what it was, but basically they needed help. Now, back in those days, and even today, when you are, um, like when they deputize you or the sheriff's department, usually they will, or even in corrections, they make you work about 6 months with very little training, before they send you to, jail school or police school or whatever, to see if you were actually going to want to do this job. So Buford didn't have to have any police experience. And so, I mean, they basically just put him on the road. Well, I mean, it
Whoa.
wasn't no time later, he becomes the sheriff. So now he
Wow.
is the sheriff of McNairy County, where right on the Tennessee Mississippi line, there is so much crime and all this stuff going on. And so Buford, and this is, I'm telling you the story as we've all known it, okay? Um, Buford was determined to take down the mafias and, clean up. He was going to clean up the county. Now at that time, the sheriffs were only elected for 2 years, but they could serve 3 consecutive terms, which he did. Now, without getting into all of the different things, it's a really a fascinating story. I've just started getting into it. All the different nuances and stuff that went on in these cases, but basically, within just the first year, he breaks up something like, almost 200 stills, and he breaks up a lot of the gambling and all this kind of stuff. So of course he has a lot of enemies. um the first shot to his face, if you look on the left, the first shot to his face
The first.
is, yeah, like the one the on the all the way to the left of this picture where he's got the bandage on.
Yeah.
That was the first shot to his face. The one on the other side, that's not the result of this. Uh,
Oh.
yeah. So Buford, um,
Whoa.
in his role as sheriff, most of the time, CJ, he didn't carry a gun always, and this is why he really didn't carry a big stick all that much. Although the movie, we'll talk about that. The movie portrays him that way. But he was so big. Like, he was a huge guy. It really didn't take a whole lot, to slap somebody around to crap, whatever. But then it because of what he was doing, he really did have to start, carrying a gun, which he did. And one day he was pulling over a woman. This is the story. He was pulling over a woman for a traffic violation, and she shot him in the face.
Whoa.
I mean, these Southern women be wilding out here.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's that first picture. He gets shot there in the cheek. I don't think that one was as bad, but um, anyway, he recovers from that. Of course, he keeps on doing his duty and breaking up the gangs. And there was a long-standing feud, really, between the state line, the Dixie Mafia, and Pusser, because as the story's told, and he was in several car accidents. Like, this man, he was shot several times. He was beaten. He was in car accidents that he should not have survived. And Lord have mercy, he just kept on going. He was like the Energizer
Hmm.
Bunny, just keep on
Hmm.
going. And so,
Damn.
one morning, um, I Buford got a call, and this is crazy to me because I don't know why the sheriff goes out. Why don't you send a deputy? But Buford gets a call on his home phone, and they said that there's some kind of trouble. Somebody's causing a disturbance, whatever, across the county, like it was in the far side of McNairy. And so he's like, okay. He gets up, and his wife Pauline decides that she wants to go again. I guess, I don't know. It ain't a joyride, but I guess it was a beautiful day. And she's like, I'm gonna ride with you. So as they're going now, there was a way to get from point A to point B on main roads, but for whatever reason, and this we start the sus cakes here. For whatever reason, Buford decides to go down back roads. Okay. And on those back roads, they pass this little church building, which is still there. And I think I'm going to make a trip to McNairy County just to get some footage because this is a big deal in the South, what's going on now. Um, but there's this little old brick church called New Hope. And as they're passing, and it's still a very small road. It's not single lane, but it's a very small country road. As Buford and Pauline are driving past, a car is hiding behind the New Hope Church. And they pull out. And of course, it's one of his rival enemies. And as they pull out, they get up beside Buford and Pauline and start shooting into the car.
Whoa.
Now it hits Buford, but it hits Pauline. Now Buford has some gunshots. Pauline slumps over and she's hit. So as the story goes, Buford, tries to, he slows down and he's trying to, take care of her, and he knows he's got to get her to the hospital and himself as well. When the car goes up, turns around, and comes back and shoots again. And this time they hit Pauline in the head and
Mm.
killed her. I don't know if I don't think it was instant. They also hit Buford, I think it was twice in the jaw. Anyway, it basically blew his jaw off.
Whoa.
And so he ends up driving
Oh.
not to the closest hospital, which would be in Mississippi because he was that close to the state line. He turns around and goes all the way back into McNairy County to another hospital, which a lot of people have said was sus based on his enemies and all the stuff on the Mississippi line. I'm not sure that that is sus,
Right.
but you know, they go back to the hospital, but of course she's pronounced deceased. And he is in the hospital. I mean, he has to have, I don't know, it was something like 9 surgeries. It was total reconstruction. And then you can see, like, it didn't look well. All right.
What was the time difference between where he could have went and where he ended up going for the hospital? Do you know the difference in time?
I do in my notes.
Oh.
It is considerable, though.
Is it
Yes,
really?
it is. It is
Wow, and you got
considerable.
your jaw hanging and you well, maybe
Right.
you thought they would finish it off if you went in Mississippi.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But now, Buford was everybody's hero, so he pulls up to the hospital, and this is tragic. His wife is there laying in his lap deceased, and his jaw is shot off. He was only in the hospital for 13 days before he went back to work. Uh, and he continued his work as sheriff until his term ended. Now, after that, good, Sherry Faye, I'm going to get to your comment. Um, but
Wow.
the problem, okay, so Buford can't run again. In the meantime, the media picks up this whole thing of what he's done in McNairy County, and he's a legend. Okay, he's a superhero. People love him. Um, and they decide to make a movie. Hollywood hears about all this and they make a movie called Walking Tall. And this was back, I want to tell you, I've seen the movie, but I was it was so long ago.
Mhm.
I can't even remember. I know they had it on TV. It might have been one of those movie of the week things back in the day. I don't know. Something like
Yeah,
that.
you get better information on YouTube than a movie anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, now that's why the controversy.
Oh.
So, I mean, they made a movie called Walking Tall, which I mean, by today's standards, who was it? I think The Rock it was redone, but it didn't use his name, and it really wasn't factual at all. And no,
That's how Hollywood does it.
yeah. But the original movie called Walking Tall was supposed to be pretty much a biography of him. And I mean, he's in all these fights and you're really rooting for him. And I mean, it's very, you're devastated when his wife is, passes away and all this.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie, like, exponentially, made him even more of a legend. So, he's recovering from all this. 2 years later, he tries to run for sheriff again, but he loses to the incumbent, which I think is very strange, but especially with his legendary status. But anyway, during this time, he signs on to do a sequel to Walking Tall, where he's going to play himself, I guess, in the
Oh.
aftermath. On that day that he signed, an agreement, he is driving down the road and they say a tire blew out or something like that. Anyway, he was at a high rate of speed. He goes off the road into the ditch, and he actually is that's what does him in. And now his daughter was coming up behind him. She was the first one on the scene that saw him. Now there's a lot of here's the thing. Okay, so that was the end of an era, and that was the okay. Then you have a hero that passes away, and they have this legendary status. Oh my gosh, my computer is. This video might be very poor quality because I don't know. I don't know why my computer's doing this. Sorry, y'all. But anyway, of course, this just increases his popularity and the movie and all this kind of stuff. Well, the South needed a hero. Okay, again, going back to the times, and depression was, and probably still is, but especially back then, I mean, life was hard for rural people. And, they had all these disadvantages, and then you have this hero. So when you say the name Buford Pusser in the South, it's like, yeah, he was like the greatest, best sheriff ever.
Like Boss
And
Hog,
so,
Yeah.
well, actually, that could be closer to the truth. Um, Let me go back to what Sherry Faye said. When I lived in Tennessee and talked to the locals, he had a lot of skeletons in the closet. Dewana, that's his daughter, opened the home as a museum, but I don't know if it's still there since she passed away. Yeah, it was just a few years ago his daughter passed away. Now they even have like a museum, and I'm not sure. Thought it was I thought it was a part of the sheriff's department, but they have like a little museum, a mini museum that has his actual desk. I mean, it's not impressive. The actual communications devices that he would have used and stuff like that. They preserved all that, and you can go see it exactly as it was.
Is that all it
This,
is? Is just a desk? Or I mean, like
well,
what's the attraction if you're going to go visit that museum?
well, you just want to see Southerners.
Like if I
We're
go,
odd people. We're odd people. We just like to be proud of stuff. We want to see how people lived. It's like, oh, that's the actual, you know, that's the actual phone that Buford Pusser used. That's the actual, radio that he used. And this is where Buford actually sat.
hmm,
And so, I mean, we're we're weird people, okay? And there's not a whole lot to
no,
do.
no.
We're just proud.
Silky, I hope one day people would want to come sit, come by and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is the studio that CJ was at when he started out.
Yeah,
This is the
exactly.
microphone that he got. This is the microphone that he got, the first one ever. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
But
I mean,
for
it's the
me,
same way
like,
with,
if I'm going there, like, what is it? Just like, is it like his home, and you can see the kitchen and the living room, and like, or is it just like uh, a representation of a office or something that's like preserved but not part of the actual? residence or whatever.
I'm not sure when
Hmm.
it comes to the house because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like she said, Dewana passed away. I don't know if it's still open. I
Hmm.
just came on this story, like
Let me see. Does
yesterday night, like a couple of nights ago, and I started looking at some news reports. And so then there is a YouTube channel, and I want to get a hold of this guy. His name is Mike Elam, and he is a sheriff, former sheriff from Arkansas, older guy who wrote a book called Buford Pusser: The Other Story. It is on Amazon. Of
the
course, I
other
haven't,
story?
yeah, but he has a YouTube channel, and he
What?
goes into all of it's called Buford Pusser: The Other Story. That's what his YouTube channel is called, also.
Oh, for real?
But it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. If you just look up Buford Pusser,
Yeah.
it'll come up with his channel. So I was trying to catch up on his videos and all the ins and outs. And I guess being from the South, it means more to me, because growing up in this environment, even though it was, past the years that Pusser was doing his thing, um, it's still, it's the legend. It's the legend. And and I find it, I know what it was like, maybe just after that era. It was still the same. The South didn't really start changing much for many years after. Now we're very different. But I remember how it used to be. And so, like, yeah, you can drive. He does a lot of stuff, and I would like to get him on my channel. Maybe we could do a joint one if you're
Hmm.
interested. Maybe we could all be together. But
Yeah,
he
I'll check
started,
it out too.
yeah, he started as a sheriff. I don't know what sparked his interest because I haven't read the book. But there's a lot of conflicting stories. Okay, now you
Really?
have the man who is the legend of Tennessee and basically the South. He was our uncrowned king of, you know, being bad, in a good way.
Hmm.
And,
Hmm.
and so now, all of a sudden, this is what I saw. And I had a news report, but of course, it's gone too because of my computer problems. But you can look it up. Back in February, all these news stations started saying, okay, after something like 57 years or whatever, they are exhuming the body of Pauline Pusser
What?
because they want to do an autopsy. Yeah,
How
yeah.
how many years
So
later?
here, I
Wow.
think they said 57,
Why are they
something
going to
like that.
see if she was actually injured before the shooting? I mean, what else can you do with it?
uh,
Make
okay.
one question
There,
I have is,
uh-huh.
which is odd, is how he was never in law enforcement, starts being a sheriff, and instantly is like busting all these major operations, and then you're talking about the traffic stuff, and it makes me wonder how he became so successful and where he got all of his information if he didn't even have any of that kind of background and studied it. And it makes me wonder if he had something to do where the traffic his information. Is that how he busted all these people? Because they were around all the
Probably
people that would be talking about it.
exactly. Um,
Hmm. Skeletons.
yes, Sherry, we're talking about them. We're just now getting to that point, but
So they.
uh, since CJ was unfamiliar, I wanted to kind of tell him the story of Buford, as we
Yeah.
all from the South know it. Yeah, and in the movie, interesting. Sherry Faye, let me highlight this. In the movie, it shows Buford with this big stick, and it shows him like, and I'm not saying that he never took a stick or a bat or whatever and busted up stills. I'm sure he did, but that was how he was portrayed, as always carrying, a big stick. Walk soft, carry a big stick. That was the kind of thing. And now he didn't walk soft at all,
It's not true,
but
so that's weird. It's not true, but
um
that's what Hollywood did, huh? A big stick.
right. uh
Mhm.
so yeah, So it's in the museum. The one that he used at
What?
some point in time, at least, it's in the museum. Yeah, where with his desk, I guess, unless it's at the house. I'm not sure. I've seen video of it
So,
though.
okay.
So what they're now discovering, and what Mike Elam started digging into, and it's interesting because he says a lot of the things that we know as creators, CJ. You start picking at somebody, uh, you start questioning reality, and people, families, whatever, are going to be really ticked off. People are going to get really mad at you. So as he was studying Buford Pusser, he started and talking to people and looking at stuff. It was like, this does not seem to be the man that was portrayed in the movie. Great movie, by the
Mm.
way, if you haven't seen it, um,
Mm.
especially for its day. But so he starts looking and he starts questioning. Then he gathers all this information and writes a book about the real, according to him, the real Buford Pusser. And people are blasting him out every direction, okay? Because you have now destroyed our hero. And but that's a very good question that you asked. How did he know about all this stuff? Well,
Yeah.
it is because according to many people, he was involved.
Right.
He was part of it. He knew who these people were,
Yeah.
and they said that he busted up the stills of people who weren't gonna pay him, whatever, because now he's the sheriff and he's this humongous man. And so now anybody that wasn't on his side or wasn't, whatever, they're the ones they say that the stills got busted. Um,
Mhm.
yes, hi Watha, I know. Look, my bubble got busted too 2 days ago when I saw the news report. I'm like,
Uh, it's
no, not
hey,
Buford.
when you said that he never had any background, and all of a sudden he became this legend, and he was busting this many and this and that and this, and then you said, and then there was some other stuff going on, and I'm like, yep, there's your source of information. Uh,
Yes,
yeah, I wouldn't be
yes.
surprised. And what his wife found out.
Okay, so now here we're gonna go. All right, we have a lot of people who say that, of course, he was involved in all of this, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
Yeah,
I see that as very plausible, and I can say
yeah,
that from my own county, which, CJ, you know where I live. Uh, in my county, we had a sheriff. It was after this time. I was a little kid, but it was after this time, but not terribly far away. He was a sheriff for a long time, and I guess everybody thought he was a good guy, whatever. But the people that worked for him knew how dirty he was, and
mm-hmm.
probably at that time the whole county was. Eventually, he was so bad that eventually, he got sent to prison. He got busted when, and yeah, they sent him up the river, so to speak. And it was bad. He had like a very long sentence. I don't know what happened to him after that. Uh, Certainly
Well,
didn't remain in this area, but it was. I was shocked, you know, when they did finally bust him, and I was reading the newspapers because I was older by the time he got busted. Um, I was like, oh my god, no, the
mm-hmm.
sheriff. Now you know. Well, of course, if you're in law enforcement, you know. Um, so yeah, he didn't have Buford didn't have any law enforcement training, became the sheriff, but yeah, he knew all the people. Now, this lovely lady on his left is her name is, I think it's Pearl. It's either Pearl or I think it's Pearl Wade. Again, my book is across the room.
Mm,
Anyway, this lady was one of, and I think this is pretty well accepted no matter who you are. She was one of Buford's girlfriends. Now, I say that because he was married to Pauline at the time. But Buford had a lot of girlfriends, and I don't know. Look, even before he got shot, that ain't the best looking face I've ever seen. I don't know. Maybe he was charismatic. Who knows? Maybe they just liked, whatever. But he was, as it turns out, that we know from Pauline's family and friends, that he was like her first husband, who was the wrestler. He was also very physically abusive to her,
Mm.
and he was a cheater, just a long line of girlfriends. So all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you were kind of a piece of crap, weren't you, Buford? Um, and then yes, the movie is called Walking Tall, and
Mm.
I think it came out maybe in the 70s. I don't know. Uh,
Oh
it was a
wow.
long time ago. But anyway, as you find out, Buford was not, at least in the marriage department, he was horrible. Now, Pauline was very aware, because of being his wife, that he was involved in a lot of the
Mhm.
activity, the illegal
Mhm.
activity. And of course, he could cover it because, he's the sheriff.
Mhm.
So, and there was, I think, a lot of information that came from this lady also, and she only recently passed away, not too long ago. But
This lady right here?
yes, Pearl.
Oh wow.
I think her name is Pearl Wade. Anyway,
Wow.
um, yeah, she was well known. She wasn't the only girlfriend. She was one of many, but I guess
Right.
she was one of those that the relationship was more longer standing. Which in the South at that time had to be extremely volatile. You know what I'm saying? The South back in the 50s, 60s, well, even before that, but you know, there
Mhm.
was a lot of problems with racism. The book is called Buford Pusser, the um, the other the
Yeah,
other
the other
story
story.
by Mike
Mm.
Elam. It's on Amazon. Anyway, so yeah, that was probably, and maybe that's why Pearl didn't say anything for a while. I mean, the South was a bad place for many years, and but it was well known to locals and stuff that they were, you know, had a relationship. Now,
Hmm.
the night before, some people say it was a few days within that week. Other people swear it was the night before the infamous car ride that Buford and Pauline went on. That she was basically sick of his crap, and they were in public, and she made this. She was threatening to tell the truth. Because even though they hadn't made the movie yet, he was still legendary.
Mhm.
What an amazing sheriff we have. Um,
Mhm.
and she was sick of his stuff, and she wanted to bust him for all of his illegal activities. Okay, and then it is said that he told her, basically, that he would unalive her first. Well, it was a big fight. The next morning, or whoever you believe, a few days later, she decides to get up. He gets this call at like 7 in the morning. Now you've got 3 kids at home. This is where I have some questions. You've got 3 kids at home, but you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and you decide to ride across the county with your husband, who is just going on a, DV call or whatever in the heck, somebody acting a fool. As a mom, that seems strange, but then other people have said, well, maybe they made up and he wanted her to ride, trying to make things better. I don't know.
What
What do
if
you
the
think?
call came in requesting both of them, you know? Uh who was the call from? Was it just a random call, or was it, cuz I imagine back then everything was more personable, right? So if you You
Yeah,
place a call and you say, hey, place a call and say that you're having some kind of DV or disagreement, and they might know the sheriff and the wife. They want to talk. They want both of you guys to come down there. That way she wouldn't even. Oh, we're gonna be going to help somebody in the community. Okay, I'll go with
that's
you.
true. I didn't think of that, CJ. See, you're so
Like
smart.
they were requested specifically.
That is, yeah, that is very possible, especially in small town, rural South. It could have, because I have never, and I don't know if Elam found out, but I've never heard a name, like so and so called and asked for the sheriff, and the sheriff, they told the
Yeah,
sheriff, and the sheriff said, "I'll go."
yeah.
It was just, it's always just, it came through the department, and the sheriff said, "I'll take care of it." He and Pauline get in the car. Now, the problem, like I had said earlier, is that first of all, it's a Sunday morning. I believe it's a Sunday morning. And but it's early. And instead of going the straight route to this house that he was supposedly going to, he goes on a scenic country road. All right. It would have been really hard to attack somebody on a major road because you have more traffic, but also you have this car hiding behind the New Hope Baptist Church. I think it was Baptist. And my question is, at this time of the morning on a Sunday, okay, the sheriff's off. uh why do you hide behind a church knowing he's going to come down the road that way? It's not the regular route that you would take. And how did these people know? How did the gunman know that he was going to be coming through? Or were they doing something nefarious behind the church and they recognized his car and said, "Hey, you know, I don't know." But they're
Mm-mm.
like it was a planned attack.
Yeah,
So,
just
uh
like the 911 call.
yeah, so there is a little bit of suspicion there because um it would be very odd. Even if you called him, you would think he'd go on the major roads. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
major roads back in those days weren't major. It was like a 4 lane. Okay, it was just a little bit bigger than the country roads, and straight. But yeah, so how did they know? I don't know. That was the first sus bit of the sus cake. And then, so what they're doing now, they want to exhume Pauline's body because, actually, they did it. I think it was on February 8th that they did the
Mm.
exhumation.
Wow.
And they wanted to, they want to see, first of all, because here's the thing. Okay, Buford is very, very injured. Like his jaw is shot off. And you can, let me go back to that other picture and you can see there are
It's a
some
good
more
one.
graphic pictures, but like, yeah, you can see how disfigured his face was. That's terrible.
Yeah, but he got
Um,
away with it and kept his secret in the legend.
Now there's a couple of things. I'm like, okay, this is why this is very intriguing to me because he was shot. Now I've heard two different things, and I really want to get Elam's book or at least listen to more of his videos. I've heard that he was shot once in the jaw and other times twice and sometimes 3 times. It was blown off. Okay, it was really bad. But I can say the theory is that he unalived Pauline, shot up his car, and shot himself so he couldn't be blamed. But if there's one gunshot, I understand that. If there's more than one bullet, I don't see, because he was hit in the arm, and I think it grazed. Did it? I think it grazed his stomach. It didn't like shoot him in the abdomen, but somewhere lower, and then in the jaw. Which, if you're coming up beside somebody and you're just shooting into the car, I can see where you could definitely get that side of his face. But if he was going to do it, if you already have that many injuries, could you do that? Could you shoot yourself again in the face? So that's a big question to me, is how many times?
Yeah, I could see motivation to do that if you're trying to keep everything a secret. And, you know, the more you look, the more injuries, the more believable, right? But at the same time,
Exactly.
uh, to me, it sounds like it was a setup. Like, dude called it in, said, "Hey," and because it probably wasn't planned out, accidents happen, and unfortunately, the people that were shooting in the car aimed a little bit higher than they were supposed to on
Yeah.
accident.
But now the reason, and this is by permission of Pauline's family. So obviously, over the years, they have had questions. Okay.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it is their permission that they exhumed her body on February 8th of this year. And I think Mike Elam and others were really trying, to bring up some stuff like, hey, you really need to look into this. Because when this happened, he was the sheriff. Pauline never had an autopsy.
Oh.
Yeah, never had an autopsy. They just said, "Oh, this is tragic. Put her in the ground." Now they want to look at, because I've read some accounts from people that say they saw the car and the but here's the thing, they're talking about trajectory. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for two things in the autopsy. One, are there any bullets still inside her, and whose bullets were they? you know I guess they're trying to either exonerate or, well, they can't charge him, but they're trying to put this to rest. Did the bullets come from one of the weapons owned by Buford, or were they some stray bullets that were maybe known by some of these other gang members, because they know exactly who they were? And
Yeah, but I'm sure they were part of the whole program and they have every reason to make it look like it was a real crime. Is there like, do you have like photos of the crime scene? Does it show
there are no photos of the crime scene.
really? Because
Hmm.
I would feel like the people underneath of him better be making it not look like what took place in something else like he's claiming. Because they probably have skeletons too. Because it's like with J. Edgar Hoover,
Oh yeah, yeah, wasn't that a
skeletons like a
mess?
motherfucker, but he knew everybody else's, and that's what his power was.
Right.
No
Um,
photos of the crime scene.
no, no. Let me move this over. I'm wilding over here. Uh, no
It's all
photos of
good.
the crime
Damn
scene. Yeah,
technology.
so that was another thing. They basically, well, he shows up at the hospital, and his mouth is hanging off. She's passed away. The car is riddled with bullets. I don't know. They didn't, he's a hero. He's a legend already, and and he's the sheriff.
Right.
So clearly they could, he could kind of stop that from uh, happening. I'm sure he had the power to
Mm-hmm.
do that, especially in a
Mm-hmm.
small town.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's why. Let me
Hmm.
pull this down a little bit. But that is what the I big
I,
problem is, Sam. So
I see why
this
they
is,
exhumed it now.
yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through here and hit highlights. So it was 1973 movie, Walking Tall.
Wow, that's old.
Yeah. So it was on August 12th, 1967. Now you can go to McNairy County, and that church is still there. The road really hasn't changed. It's still a very small road, because Elam did that. He's got footage of it, and I just tell you, now I'm kind of thinking, road trip. Thinking I might go to McNairy County. Um,
Hmm. That would be
it's
neat.
very interesting. Yeah, wasn't it? Um, I know he's covered it, but at the same time, there's different audience, different audience, and there's a lot of things I'm interested in, especially because growing up in the South, he was such a legend, and now you start telling me that he wasn't and that he was crooked. I'm not shocked, but I am shocked, and it's like I want to know. Because that's what we're all about. CJ is truth. It doesn't matter
Hmm.
whose hide it chaps. You know,
Right.
I don't care. And so let me just see if there's anything else. Um, Now this says it was 18 days that he was in the hospital. I just read 13. Um, Hopefully we won't get any commercials in this. Um, but yeah, this is, and he was in Adamsville, which I don't know if it's any bigger now. There's Pauline. Um, Crazy though. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The previous sheriff, he passed away quickly. He was in a car accident. That's kind of crazy.
Oh
So,
wow.
oh, and Buford was also the youngest sheriff ever in the state of Tennessee. He was only 27. That is really young for a sheriff. Like, what do you
Wow.
know at 27? You don't know
Because
nothing at
you were
27.
probably one of the leaders of the criminal activity, and they all took, voted you in so they could get away with everything that they wanted to get away with. Man,
Now,
who's
yeah.
that?
Now,
Robert
this is Joe Don Baker. This is the guy that plays Buford in the movie, and
Jordan
he does a
Baker.
really good job. Again, you have to
Big
look at it
stick.
from the time that the movie was made in the 70s. It is definitely, a different kind of, thing. But he
Hmm.
does a really good job, and he kind of favors him. He's better looking than Buford. Buford wasn't much to look at. But I guess he was a big guy, so I don't know. I don't know.
Man,
Maybe some women just, thought he was powerful or something. Who knows? Um,
he he knew everything about everybody. Everybody was
yeah,
afraid.
yeah. Okay, so here is some of his exploits. Um, in just the year 1965, he shut down 87. Now there was more than that over his first, I guess, whole year. 87 whiskey stills is a lot to shut down, though. He was shot
Yeah.
8 times. uh he fought off 6 men. I loved this, and they do show this in the movie because, like, in the movie, he's like Superman. He just won't stop. But yeah, he did actually fight 6 men. Three of them went to jail, and three to the hospital. So there you go. You can kind of see why he was legendary. It makes me wonder though, CJ, like, why, if, and it certainly makes, excuse me, it certainly makes sense to me that that's how he got elected. You know,
Hmm.
he already knew all these people,
Hmm.
whatever. But why would he, as sheriff, all of a sudden decide to clean up the town, clean up the county? Because if you're elected by those people, and if you're on the take on the side, I mean, why would you even go after that? It'd be easy to hide your
Because,
crimes and
well, it's two things. Either enough of them got pissed off that he was running amok, because with all that comes ego too. So you probably were screwing over people that, like, you were working together. The whole idea was to work together. All you've been doing is getting an ego, and if we don't do what you want us to do, then this is not why we put you here. And then that would be your decision, because then everybody's like, fuck this shit, we're just gonna do what we did the last time we made you, and we'll just get rid of you like we did the previous one. And maybe that would be his reason to finally clean it up, if that's what he really was doing. or just an ego going
Yeah.
crazy.
It- And that is very plausible also to me because apparently, to me, you have to have some kind of ego to,
Mm-hmm.
do all the things he did. Just, to be sheriff for one thing, and then, be on the take, have the string of women, and, he was deceitful. So I don't know. I know there were a lot of enemies, and I think there was a lot of women going back and forth with these gang members and stuff, and that gets into
Mm-hmm.
another story because he actually unalived Louise Hathcock, and this was before Pauline, I believe, but she was married. Well, we don't know if it was legally, but she was married to the guy that was kind of the head of the state line, group kind of gang, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a long standing, I guess, hatred in between them. Anyway, he goes to the house. I can't remember the whole thing, but now here's another. Nah, we don't know what really happened. We do know that Buford unalived her. He shot her. He says that she shot at him first. He goes in the house. He's trying to do whatever his legal duty, and she comes out with a shotgun or something, and she shoots at him. He shoots her. Unfortunately, Louise doesn't make it, but other people say that she was shot in the back. Now, that is a problem.
Oh wow.
So they
Wow.
feel they really feel like, and she was uh involved with the this other guy, Towhead White, um, who was very much in the state line crew, and Towhead and Buford already had a feud, and so everybody believes that Towhead is the one that, if he wasn't one of the actual shooters on, to Buford and Pauline, that he was at least had somebody do it. He hired them, whatever. Um, there is something interesting in this article too, that talks about. I don't think this article mentions, and see, but here you see in this little clip, it says that he did not recognize the men. I don't believe that, CJ, because you're driving down the road before,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the car come up next to you, you would probably know exactly whose vehicle it's small town South,
Right.
unless
Right.
they were hired out, but you would know who did
Right.
that.
And if you're busting all this stuff and you really are busting buddies of yours that you're supposed to be helping let them make their business flourish because you get a kickback out of it, you would definitely be turning them in too because you don't want them to come finish it if that's really what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
so they believe that let me this guy's name. There's some nice
Mm.
feet right there. Kirksey
Cornbread
Kirksey
Mafia.
Nix.
It's true
Yeah.
though. There is. Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Um.
got ran into that story or topic a few times.
Really.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cornbread
So
mafia.
Kirksey,
Yeah,
I've heard of him. I don't really know that much. I
I
mean,
thought it was
now
a
most of
joke,
our.
but it's true.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's true. Now, at least in my area, it's not so much that
Hmm.
as it is motorcycle gang and other gangs that have come in from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, back
that
then they had the Slim Jim machos too. So
haven't heard of
corn
those.
Slim Jim machos. Yeah, yeah. They always used to run around and say, "Step into a Slim Jim." You know.
Wow, haven't
Yeah.
heard of them.
Yeah. They'd step into a Slim Jim. They'd always run around. That's what they would do to everybody.
Wow,
The Slim
wow.
Jim machos. Yeah.
I don't even remember my parents talking about that. Although
Mm?
the
The
big
shredded cheese
organization,
bandits. You know, you never heard
no,
of the shredded cheese bandits?
no,
What the fuck, Silky?
I don't know. I'm getting an education. See, this is
Yeah.
why we learn from each other. You learn about hemorrhoid ointment, and I
Yeah.
learn about nacho cheese.
Yeah,
Somebody
they
shredded
carried big
cheese,
blocks
whatever.
of yeah, they carried big blocks of cheese. You know, they'd run up to people and like, boom. You know,
What? Are you
yeah,
kidding? No,
yeah.
no way.
No, for real.
CJ,
Like
you
this
are
guy, like this
no.
guy's stick, they'd get out, and knock a motherfucker out, just bam, right on top of the
You're
head.
pulling my leg.
No, step into a Slim Jim, Silky. You'll see.
I have never heard of such a thing. Now, new
Slim Jim
fear
lattes.
unleashed. Blocks of cheese.
Yeah, boom. Would it knock? Yeah, it's gonna knock somebody out. Shit. And there's no
I've never heard.
yeah, and there's like no, the bruising is very minimal too. So they're like, "What the hell happened? I don't know." Real
Yeah.
soft, but knocks them out. Sorry,
Wow. Yeah. New fear here,
shredded
CJ. Thank
cheese.
you.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah. I, cheese. Death by
cornbread.
cheese.
Yeah,
Wow.
chili.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
um.
I'm starving
Well,
now. Speaking of
anyway.
cornbread,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wind it up in just a little bit because I have to go to the bathroom. I've had too
beef
much
stick.
coffee.
Beef
um.
stick.
Okay, but anyway, he felt like Nix, Kirk C. Nix, was one of the ones. Well, they felt like that was one of the shooters. They felt like it was actually orchestrated by Towhead White. His name was Carl Douglas White, but they called him Towhead. Uh, anyway, we do that in the South too.
That's
You get a
weird.
nickname. You
Yeah,
get a nickname.
yeah.
Everybody's got one.
Towhead.
Towhead. Uh, but anyway, they never did actually arrest Nix, but he did go to prison, like this says, for another case. And I don't know when this was written. I didn't pay attention at the top, but he is still in prison. And then there was, let's see. So it says one way or another, his wife's other three alleged unalivers eventually paid the price with their lives. So he did, like, even when he was Buford was not supposed to be around, whatever. Uh, oh, here we go talking about Towhead. Yeah, they all strangely enough met their demise in ways that okay, yeah,
Suspicious.
yeah. Okay, so Towhead was found fatally unalived in Mississippi in 1969. So that's just 2 years later. Of course, that was the rumor that Pusser had hired someone. And then some of these other ones, George McGann and Gary McDaniel, also found the same method unalived in 1970. So you're only talking about a couple of years. And they all really kind of feel like it was somehow orchestrated, if not done, by Buford
Mm-hmm.
himself. So, I mean, kind of like, if you watch the movie Tombstone, kind of like how all the cowboys just mysteriously were unalived over years after Tombstone.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen that movie, Tombstone?
I feel like I did, but it was a long time ago. Is that the one with like Kurt Russell and Kevin
Yeah.
Costner and Val Kilmer and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that
One of
was a
my
long
favorite
time ago.
movies.
I should watch that
God.
again. That does sound I miss I love watching a good movie. It's too many times you take time out of, like
Yeah.
hour and a half and it's like fuck, I could have did more work or something, you
Exactly.
know?
Exactly. That's why I don't even go to the movie theaters anymore because it's mostly crap.
Yeah.
But I've watched Tombstone over and over. I mean, I quote big passages of that one. One of my favorite movies. But yeah. But so
It is.
anyway,
It's a good movie.
Uh, but there you go. So now we're waiting for the results of uh, the autopsy. Want to see whose bullets are where, uh, and the trajectory. Uh, and now I'm watching these videos and I'm really thinking I might want to. McNairy County wouldn't be that far because I think when I used to go to Memphis a lot, I think Memphis is only like 4.5 hours, depending on how many times you have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
uh, so this is McNairy County, Tennessee, is closer than Memphis to me. So I'm thinking that's not bad.
Hmm.
I
If
might I
nothing
might do that in a couple of
beats,
weeks.
yeah, nothing
Hmm?
beats footage from the location.
Right.
Nothing beats it.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would take a
thinking
trip.
my daughter has spring break coming up in a couple of weeks, and I have days I need to take off, and she wants me to go to Georgia with her, which I might because where she wants to go is not that far. And then I might just, cross back over and go to McNairy. Um, because you can still that road that he got that the shooting was on is still pretty much like it is. It's a small country road. Some people said two cars that couldn't have happened because there couldn't have been two cars side by side. I I disagree, and I think Mike Elam or one of the other guys that are covering this one, they show the side. Now cars were bigger back then. That's true, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still possible. Country boy will ride half in the ditch anyway, so um, I don't see a problem with that. But it's yeah, it's kind of sad for me because, uh, Hollywood takes liberties, and okay, it probably wasn't exactly like this the story, but it's kind of like when somebody tells you, oh, there's no Santa Claus. Oh, I should have put a trigger warning. Should have put a trigger warning up there. I'm sorry to anybody that I destroyed with that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh man, Buford was a bad guy. We have so few heroes in the South,
Hmm.
CJ. We just really do. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, but at the
you
same
know,
time, like just with the, I mean, why at the same time, why glorify somebody that hits women too? You know,
well, yeah, yeah.
like
When
if
I found
they're,
out exactly, and when I found that out, I was like, okay, well, I'm not as devastated because you were clearly a piece of crap. But
yeah,
hello, Moonlight. It was nice playing games with you last night.
yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
Yes, they do, Hiawatha. They think that is the theory that somehow, and this is why they want to look at the trajectory of you know the bullets because they think that perhaps Buford unalived Pauline first, and the theory is that he shot himself. I don't know,
Well, I'm
but
wondering about that bone too. Did he suffocate her first?
yeah,
That too.
yeah, yeah. We don't know. I mean, anything at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning in August in the South back in those days would have been a very sleepy morning. Okay, it would have been a very slow moving. It's hot. I am convinced that's why Southern people developed a drawl because back in the day when you didn't have air conditioners, and people did when I was a kid, but we didn't because we were poor. And so, I mean, even in my house, I've got central, but it gets really hot in this room. So that's why you see a lot of videos where I'm like hardly not wearing that much because like I'm dying in here. But when you're when it's hot and there's not back in those days there was not a whole lot to do but front porch sitting and you just the heat sucks the life out of you and you kind of just answer you do everything slow. If somebody asks a question it's like well you know
Mm. Mm.
I
Interesting.
reckon I'm gonna do this, and you sit there for 10 minutes because it's hot. It's
Right?
hot. You don't want to move.
Yeah, you got to build up the motivation to move. Damn straight.
Yeah, so I'm convinced that's why we talk like we do. some of us talk real slow and some of us talk real fast, and I go in between, depending.
Hmm.
But
That's
yeah.
interesting.
But anyway, I feel like on a August morning on a Sunday, it would have been even at 7 a.m. It would have been
Yeah.
hot. It
Oh
would have been
yeah.
hot,
Muggy.
and yeah,
Ugh.
extremely. Our
Ugh. I can't imagine. At probably at 4 or 5 a.m. it was already muggy
it's
down
muggy
there.
at 10 o'clock at night.
Right. It don't
It's
go away,
Tennessee
huh?
might not be. Yeah, I don't know if it's as bad. Alabama, it's like you walk out and you feel like you just walk outside from the air conditioning. I walk out into the yard and I feel like I stepped into a sauna when
Yeah,
it's
it's like
July and
poof,
August. It's like yeah,
like it hits you.
yeah, it's
Invisible
like
blanket.
exactly. You could just
Mm-hmm.
almost wipe the moisture off your skin.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're like trying to breathe through all, yeah, because the air is
it's
so
like
thick. And you're like,
uh huh,
yeah.
it is. Yeah. So
Mm.
I mean, even at 7 a.m. or around there on a Sunday morning in August, um,
Oof.
it just seems it seems like to me, I don't know. I think there's a lot of factors that go into that, but certainly it would be slow moving, and everybody, if you weren't, most people would probably, or a lot of them would be going to church, but they wouldn't be up moving around on the streets and the roads and stuff like that. They'd still be, at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't going to church, you weren't going anywhere unless you were going to mama's or grandma's for Sunday dinner, but that wouldn't be till 12 or 1. So, nobody's moving. And I think it's still like that. When I drive to work on a Sunday morning, it's like, geez, there ain't nobody out here on the highway.
What
There ain't nobody here.
was
Uh,
there for sure a 911 call, or is that just what was being told?
oh, that
Is
was way before the 911 system was.
so it's just the part of the legend. Yeah, 911 call. Because I'm
Yeah.
wondering if this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, and it'd be interesting to see what they came up with from that exhumation, because I'm wondering if she even, like, I'm wondering if he did something the night before or that morning and then brought her with him in the car to make it look like that, like she was already gone before she got in the car.
Right, and that
Is
is
what I'm.
some people's theories exactly that
Yeah.
she was not alive and that he got up early in the morning. There was supposedly a call. Maybe that's why he answered it. I'm questioning why on a Sunday the sheriff himself is going to go out across the county. It wasn't like it was just a mile down the road. Well, hey boys, I'm right here. I'll just go out there, but why didn't you send a deputy or somebody else out there on at 7 a.m.? You're getting out of bed and
It
whatever.
was the calls telling the guy that he's at the church, ready to go.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I'll respond right now. Okay, there you go.
yeah. So I mean, it is. It's crazy.
Call would have been routed through main. So
But
it's
yeah,
just a plug and switch kind of thing back then, huh?
yeah,
There's no
yeah.
records or nothing.
Mm-mm. No. And like I said, an autopsy would have been helpful, but I don't think at the time that anybody was willing to do that
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Right.
So
Yeah, because you'd be next.
yeah, yeah, you would be next if he survived. Um, and yeah, nobody's. So sheriff says, and out of respect, sheriff says, I don't want an autopsy. Let's just bury her, and um, nobody's gonna question. Authority was a lot different. There was really back in those days. There was a lot of lack of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a lot run by the good old boys to a degree. But now you have so much technology, so much stuff on Facebook, so many people talking, it is much harder to pull that stunt now because somebody is going to get on your Facebook page, on the sheriff's office page that, and hey, and be commenting, hey, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what's up with
Mm-hmm.
this? I mean, you're going to see it. Other
Mm-hmm.
people are going to see it. So, yeah, there's a lot, but back then, no, the sheriff was the law, and especially in his status, he was such a advocate for justice. Like, why would you even think that he could do such a thing, right? Because for most people, they believed that he was a good guy, except
Mm-hmm.
for those that apparently knew him. So, yeah, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. So I'm interested to see. I don't know how long it's going to take for these results to come back. Interested to know if there is another bullet in her, because that would tell a lot of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. And you didn't have DNA back then. If she was unalived and they hit her and there was a lack of blood, but there was on him, they couldn't. I mean, I don't think they would, especially not doing an autopsy. They wouldn't be testing, the blood, even though there wasn't DNA. They wouldn't be blood typing it if she had, that on her.
Mm-hmm.
She would be, they would assume it's hers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
they
yeah,
would, especially coming from him. They're gonna trust everything he
yeah,
says.
yeah. So anyway, that is the story of Buford Pusser, and if y'all have, I mean, if y'all are interested, it is a good movie. God, I it's been so many years. I remember being a kid and seeing it and thinking, even as a kid, I thought it was a really good movie. Um, Now, again, I'm sure the acting skills and the cinematography are not what we're used to now, but the story is very compelling. And so when you see, this kind of stuff, you're like, ugh, you're deflated. Okay, he was a bad guy, uh, in more ways than one. But yeah, I'm going to see
Yeah, it'll
if I
be
can get a hold
interesting.
of Mike.
Be interesting to see what all the updates were too. I ain't
Yeah.
never heard of that guy in my life. So yeah, it's seems very like for real.
Yeah.
And they when did they do this exhumation? Like within a couple months?
February 8th of 2024. So just a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Because people have been wanting to do this. And here's the problem. And when you watch Mike Elam's videos, you see, what he's saying. Like, he gets so much hate because you have, of course, the Pusser family that wants to keep the legend,
Mm.
and
Right.
the actual close family members are passed away now, but they have, you know, well, they had a museum in the house and all this kind of stuff, and you
Oh
want to
yeah.
preserve that. You don't want to think about your dad or your granddad, whoever,
Right.
um, being this bad guy, and then you have the people who are still alive who remember and know things, and they're telling the truth. And so you have, this sheriff Mike Elam saying, hey, I'm investigating this. So he has been trying, and uh, for many reasons, to get an exhumation and say, hey, I don't think that this happened the way we think it happened, and that there could, not that there's going to be charges, but at least um, and I haven't seen like huge amounts of evidence. I don't know if they're keeping that under wraps, but it's got to be something, CJ, that it's got to be like very compelling to, after all these years, to exhume somebody.
They probably they probably tainted all the evidence from the get-go and there was nothing else they
Oh,
could.
hi, Cop Facts. I'm sorry, I didn't even know you were in here. Okay, go ahead, CJ.
I just maybe the evidence was so tainted already from the story and uh that's the only thing they could really try and see is if okay, if the trajectory or hyoid bone is broke or whatever, like there's got to be some kind of I don't know. I mean, it'd be with the trajectory, I mean, that's not. Is it going to show like a distance of a weapon? You know what I mean? It could be whatever trajectory. If she's laying
Yeah,
and they're driving and shooting, it could be whatever trajectory it was going to be. Is it
right.
a
I know that
distance?
was, yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why I wondered, because that's what they keep saying in these news reports, trajectory. Is it because, like, do they think it happened a different way? Do they have, did he ever say anything later in life? Which he wasn't, he died at 36. So I mean, he wasn't old. But did somebody else know? Did he confess to somebody that he had done something? Could they tell if she was sitting close range right beside him and he did this? I,
I guess maybe
I don't
the
know.
damage to the skull would show the distance of the how close the firearm was.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what because when I think trajectory, I just think of like the ankle, and I don't know what
right.
that would what that is supposed to
Well,
tell.
and I think the only thing I can think of is he said they were shot at as they were going down the road this way. The car was beside them. But that wasn't the fatal shot for Pauline. The fatal
Right.
shot was coming from the other direction when the car turned around, according to him, and shot back into the car. So I don't know
Yeah, according to
what.
him. Uh, like, do we even know that her blood was in the vehicle? You know,
Yeah, we don't.
uh,
We don't.
she could have been shot before, thrown in the car real quick. I honestly think, I think if that was the whole thing, I honestly think that uh, if she was starting to press him a couple days prior about talking to LE or exposing secrets, I could see him just they got into an argument, you know, and he's already physically abusive with her. Uh, he went
Hmm.
too far, and because he needed to go too far because she was going to expose his, you know, whatever, and then you know, he well, I can't just put her in the backyard. I can't drop her off in a ditch because then who's going to believe that I let her go for a walk? No, we went to go respond to a call for the community and we were
Right.
attacked. I mean,
And questions, I'm sure there are questions like how many times, and you have to look at past history and patterns. Did she ride with him occasionally? Did she ride with him often? Had she never ridden with him before on a call? Or, like you
yeah.
said, CJ, I can definitely see a community of them saying, hey, Bob Smith, over there, him and his wife are at it again. And his wife, Helen, said, can you please bring Pauline? Because, whatever. I mean, that's entirely possible. Um, but at the same time, if she wasn't in the habit of ever riding with him, um, and all of a sudden she rides the day that this happens, that's
Hmm.
very lots of sus cake there. Big old sus cake.
Yeah. Especially considering everything that was just going on right then.
Yeah.
I don't think she went willingly or even
I mean,
awake.
looking at things now, yeah, I have to wonder. I really do. But I guess we'll find out because
Mm, I'm definitely going to be
we
looking
should,
it up.
yeah. I'm really studying this case.
We got to do a part
First
two
of
on
all,
this one for real because this one's crazy.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, this guy has a lot of info, and he's got a lot of videos. I haven't even. I just broke the surface.
Uh,
I really just thought, I saw the article or the news report, and I was like, oh, what are they doing that for? And I'm thinking, okay, they were talking about trajectory and all this stuff. And I'm like, what are they thinking? And so I just looked it up and I came across this and I'm like, holy Moses, I didn't know all of this. So there are tons. There's a lot of stuff about the relationships between these people, the Dixie Mafia and the State Line Gang, and the and Pusser, that is very interesting. So a lot of that, a lot of the answers could be hidden in some of that. So I'm excited to watch some more of this, and yeah,
Oh,
we'll do a part
I
two.
bet I bet you as much. I bet you there's locals. I bet you as much as people have stories about real stories about his accomplishments and the legend. I'm sure there's some people out there that could still tell some real stories about the skeletons of what the hell was going on too, because I know
Oh yeah.
as much as their family members over there that were like, yeah, he's a great, there's also family members where, yeah, he did this to my grandpa, he did this to my mom, he did this to my dad, he did this to my uncle, my aunt, like there's people out there too. So I'm sure I'm sure now that people are going to start talking about it, I bet they get more
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. It'd probably have to be one of those anonymous voice changer type interviews or something, just because they would still not feel like,
Yeah.
but damn, I bet you there's some stories out there, the skeletons and all the shady
Yeah.
stuff he was.
And I'm gonna have to look up how big Adamsville is now. If it's here's the thing about us Southern people. If it's a very small town, still, it's gonna be harder. Some people will talk, but
Mm,
you're gonna have to really, blend in. And now a
mm-hmm.
bigger town, probably be harder to find the older people too, but um, it might be easier. But I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I'll just go spend. Maybe I'll get Airbnb in McNary and see what's around there, and strike a
Yeah,
conversation. That would be interesting because I would really love to know um, the real story now. Because I get hate for everything, so I don't care.
whatever.
I'll get on YouTube and I'll say what I want
Yeah,
to. I don't
yeah,
care. Um,
yeah.
but at least there's information out there, and so um,
I look at it like
yeah.
this. I mean, look, if you're a woman beater, I don't give a fuck, you know?
Hmm.
It is what it is. You could listen, that's what I'm looking at. Like, yo, you could be a legend, but if you're a woman beater, I don't give a shit. I don't care what your legend is. I really
Yeah.
don't. Because as far as I'm concerned, your legend to me is that you're a woman beater.
Yeah. Yeah. And all the above, the
Screw
stuff
the
that
other
he
shit.
was uh right. So yeah, it's interesting. And we'll definitely do a part two on this.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna find out some more stuff. I might go there, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna go somewhere.
That
Gonna go
would be
somewhere in
neat.
a
You
couple of
should.
weeks.
You should.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it. Like I said, my daughter wants me to go with her to Georgia. I'm like, I could go there and get some, you know, ghost story footage of, stories on. I'm sure there's something haunted over there. So
Yeah. And
every
it'd be cool. And then you'd have
every
like a rooster crowing in the middle of your video that you make too,
like I did, yeah,
"Ah," like that one from a long ass time. You're like, rooster. It's like, yep. Yeah, that would
yeah,
be cool though. You do some like that. I think that'd be an interesting perspective if you could take your community to the spot where, like, the church is, and this is where the car was at. Like it would help bring all of
hmm,
that story, into the mind. I think that'd be cool. You should do it
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So yeah, one place or the other, either McNary or both. Every
Right.
time I go on a little mini vacation, CJ, and I used to do this on my other channel, but before I was doing crime and I was doing, just whatever, uh, I would always go to these places and take footage of, the haunted places and, you
Hmm.
know, and stuff like that. That's fun. So, And it's weird because whenever I go to a new place, the first thing I do when I when I'm planning my trip is I start looking at haunted places in, wherever. I'm like, okay,
Damn.
let's see, let's see what
Damn.
I can see. Shh, hush,
I
Mina.
should.
Anyway,
Oh, excuse me. I should do that sometime. I wouldn't mind checking
yeah,
out some stuff like
one of
that.
these days I'm gonna go to Waverly. I keep saying that, but one of these days I'm gonna go to Waverly. Uh,
What is
but that's
that?
in Kentucky, I think. That's a nice little
What's
that's a nice little
Waverly?
drive. Yeah, the sanatorium.
Waverly, Kentucky?
No, it's I don't know where it's at in Kentucky, but
Oh.
if you look up Waverly Sanatorium
Oh,
or
that's
Haunted
in. Oh.
Waverly, you'll find it.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah.
Haunted places all over. That would be neat
Yeah.
though. We need to play.
Yeah.
We need to get like a game that we're like ghost hunters or something. You know?
That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Escape room.
all right. I know you're busy. I'm not going to keep you any longer. I thank you so much for coming on today, CJ, because
Oh, thank you.
uh,
Sorry about all
we
the
always have
technical
fun together.
difficulties. Yeah, it
What?
it took us a little longer to get into the topic, but it's all good. We got all that good shit out of the way first, and
Yeah. Yeah, all the
then
footage for the next for the next
we
one.
took it. Yeah,
Uh,
if you missed the beginning, definitely go check it out.
yeah.
Story
Uh,
time.
exactly. Beauty tips with Silky and CJ.
Yeah, there you go. No, don't put my name in that shit. I don't want no part of that. Fuck that. Don't put my name in it.
Oh
Scrub
my
me.
god.
All right.
Yeah. Follow us. Follow us for more tips. CJ's like, what the crap? Oh. All right. Well, thank y'all for hanging out with us, and I've got to redo a lot of stuff. I don't even have my video stuff really ready. But what are you doing on your show tonight, CJ? Let everybody know.
Just going through more of the MVFD stuff and some updates and things like that. So, uh, just another show where we're kind of going through some more stuff. Put out another video overnight about who the one of them in the picture was from Sigma Chi. So it was kind of interesting.
Oh,
It was the president of Sigma Chi. That was one of the volunteer firefighter EMS first responders in 2022.
oh, wow. Yeah, if y'all are watching this
Yeah.
from, replay, whatever, CJ does a lot of Idaho 4. So um, I may or may not. I'm thinking about doing Delphi tonight. I don't know if I'm going to do that or if I'm going to do Ghost Story. So one or the other. But anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you, CJ. Thank y'all
Thank
for
you,
hanging
Silky.
out.
Thank you,
I really
community.
appreciate y'all. Uh, what is it I say? Oh, whatever you do, stay silky. Bye bye.